Yeah. Good evening. It is 5:30 p.m. and I am calling to order this regular meeting of the Fargo Board of Education. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I will look for approval of our agenda. Anyone? Melissa?
I move approval of the agenda with the HC addendum.
I'll second.
So we have a motion from Melissa and a second from Allie. Any discussion? All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposition, same sign. That motion passes 9-0. We do not have anyone here for recognition of the audience, so we'll move on to reports. And I actually don't think Laura's here. I usually check with her. Yeah, that's why I said I actually don't think. Yeah, she usually texts me, so I'm assuming she's not here. Okay, let's move on then to our administration report from Dr. Steiner.
All right, thank you. So we'll start with celebrations. Congratulations to the Fargo South baseball team, North Dakota High School Activity Association Class A state baseball champs, first time since 2011. Also, congratulations to high school junior Caden Nelson. He was the 2026 Gatorade North Dakota Baseball Player of the Year, so pretty wonderful weekend for them. I had shared with the board, but I thought it would be nice to share publicly. We received a $175,000 education prep program grant from the Department of Public Instruction. This will allow our elementaries to work with some of the higher education institutions, again, just developing more pipelines for more of our students and college students to become teachers. This will do some extension of some of the work that we've already been doing. Tooting Anne Marie's horn on this, the National School Public Relations Association, we submit certain things to them and then they kind of, I would say, rank them or award them. The annual report received the 24-25, the Award of Excellence. Marketing materials, Light Up Your Summer Brochure, was the Award of Merit. The Journey Newsletter, Award of Excellence. And Devices Off, Learning On was the Award of Excellence. And so I'm going to put Anne-Marie on the spot. Anne-Marie, would you like to share anything about that?
I think you covered it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Also, Sydney Azure, who is our Catalyst coach for the district and really has done amazing things, looked and gave me data for the last handful of years on how many of our teachers have been certified in Catalyst. And so I thought it was interesting to look back. In 2022, we had 38 teachers who were certified in Catalyst. The next year went to 58.3. In 24 was 103. Last year was 133, and this year was 158. So in the course of those 5 years, from 38 to 158 teachers who have been certified in Catalyst. Again, I think just a great recognition for Sydney and the work she's done, along with also getting other people that are coaches in the district, been a really strong investment into our district. So just very proud of that. Each of you received an email from me yesterday from a parent that I was given permission to share. If you haven't had a chance to read that, I would just ask you to take a look at that. I think in that email is the reason why we do what we do, and it was just wonderful. I got a chance to meet that parent last week, and they were just so complimentary of the staff that worked with them, so it was just wonderful. So if you haven't had a chance, please find some time to read that. For the administrative side, we as part of our strategic plan metrics, one of the things that we added in was a school recommendation. So would you recommend your school to others? Thanks to Anne-Marie and her team, we got over 1,850 responses back in a very short window, in less than 2 weeks. 85.9% said yes. 14.1% said no. You know, on the surface, that's good data, but it's the first year of data, so we've got to build some long-term to see, and then figure out also what do we do about the 14.1% that are saying no, but also what are we doing with the 85.9% to make sure we keep doing those things. So I think a good starting point for us, especially with 1,800 pieces of information, I think that gives us at least a good baseline to build off of. We applied for a waiver through the North Dakota Department of Instruction for self-directed academy students that are freshmen to be able to take dual credit courses. By state law, only sophomores on up in high school can take dual credit. We were able to get that waived for those in the self-directed academy. Also, our plan would be that over the course of the next year, we would work through with a group to get approval for all freshmen to be able to take that. We have many freshmen who come out of our middle school and are ready to take some of that advanced coursework. It would be nice for them to get the college credit for that coursework. So we will work on that, but at least for our self-directed students, we have that. I've shared with you a couple times that our goal is to restart the Teacher Leadership Academy. We had done a quick intro session probably 2.5, 3 weeks ago. We had about 8 people interested. So then we sent out a survey. We now have 34 people that are interested. So we're going to hold 2 listening sessions next week, 2 information sessions, hoping between 15 and 20. Met with NDSU yesterday. We have a fairly solid plan about how we will roll this out. So the next meetings are, here's what it's about, and then if you're ready to go, we would start the registration process. So we're pretty confident we'll be able to kick something off in the fall of this year. Today, we had a really wonderful meeting. So we had our last of our kind of strategic planning meetings. And today was about all of our principals, a lot of our directors, and a lot of our assistant principals coming. And what they did is they went and worked on their individual plans. So taking those areas that we identified as the critical areas of need in our district, from belonging, MTSS, civil discourse, ELA, and attendance, them identifying what's the one thing they're going to go after, knowing they also have attendance as one of those things because that's our district critical objective. They worked through what a hallmark of a successful initiative is today. We got some really good information on how to look at an initiative and really figure out, like, if it doesn't have all these parts, it probably doesn't have the chance to be successful. Looked at how we stack up, so they really dug into data, and we really had to push a lot today on, they would say, well, we'd like to get this data. We'd say, if you don't have the data, that means we're not ready to go after that yet. And so we really tried to use existing data for them to ground the why they're doing that work. They also started engaging in their planning. So they actually started putting together their strategies. They identified time and resources. Dr. Slavic had said it to you guys earlier that the lead person in charge of the initiative should be spending a half hour of their day on the initiative. That raised some eyes when that was said, but honestly, the people were all writing in their plans how they would do that. And had some really great things, whether it was just getting into classrooms to observe as an administrative team, or to carve out time in their day to do this work, or to have conversations. So was really excited about how they moved that. And then the last thing they did is they identified everything that could go wrong with their initiative. They used some AI stuff for it, and it was interesting because I think we opened some pathways for them to consider how to use AI as even further than what they were doing. Really like where they landed today. I was just looking, we did an exit survey with them, and the last question is, did you feel the meeting today benefited kids? And 100% of the respondents said yes. 100% said the meeting was either extremely well received or received well, so the top 2 levels. And then we asked them in one of the questions, now that you know what you know, how do you need the district office to support you going forward? So we will gather that data, and then we will start identifying our plans of how we will support them in this work. So was really happy with that. And then the last thing was I had sent to board members our alternative pathway work. That was work that was done by high school admin and teachers and middle school admin and teachers. I'm not going to read that to you. I think that's something that you can do when you have some time, but ultimately the things I'll point out to you is you saw very different pathways for high school and middle school. A lot of these, especially at the high school level, have been implemented, especially some of the online pieces and the PACE courses and SPA courses. And then you'll also see that we have some very strong metrics that we will use and identify for success in the future. So if you have questions on that, I'm more than willing to take them, but I can also meet with you anytime to discuss those. So that's what I have.
Okay, thank you. And so then next, we're moving to the standard of effort report. Is that Jackie? Okay. Hi, Jackie.
Good evening. It's a little different being on this side of the table. Before you, you have the fiscal 2025 Standard of Effort Report. This report is a culmination of data that is published by the North Dakota Department of Public Instruction through information that school districts submit. They submit compensation information as well as financial information, and then our final average daily membership. For the most part, all of the tables, that is where that information comes from. There is some information that we reach out directly to business managers for, because it's just not included in that. Information that goes to DPI. And then for Moorhead Public Schools, they are kind enough to answer all of my questions that I send their way, because they're on a different reporting system than we are. I hope you've had time to take a look at the report, and I think what we'll do, I don't plan to go through it page by page with you, but would like to open it up if there are specific questions you have regarding the data, what's presented, and or if there is more detailed information you would like us to obtain for you regarding what is in the report.
Okay, so do we have questions or comments then for Jackie? Melissa?
I just had a quick question about, on page 5, there's the base, the salary, and then the compensation, and was wondering, was that including TFFR and benefits, or are there other things that go into?
It is reporting all salary and all benefits for total compensation.
Okay.
Okay, other questions or comments? Greg?
Okay, all right. So first, I think it's important to note that I really appreciate that we compile this report every year. I think it's a lot of really good data, and I greatly appreciate that even though the data is not always flattering, we continue to do it, and I think it's important in our commitment to transparency and continuous improvement. I think the one point one thing I want to point out for everyone who hasn't heard me point it out yet, on page 8, our administrative spending per student, it is higher than our peers, and I think going forward, to Jackie's point earlier about, what other information do we want in now that we've seen this report. I think this report is good at not necessarily saying here's where we need to improve, but I think it's a good starting place to identify where should we continue to look for ways to improve. And a really good example of this is that our planning committee for over a year has been discussing transportation costs. If you go further down in the report, I'm not sure which page it is, you'll find that Fargo has higher per pupil spending on transportation than our peer districts. And planning has discussed this for over a year. And I think we're narrowing in on explanations for why our transportation spending is higher than others. And not, we haven't reached a point where planning is recommending action, but we're getting into why by digging into more data that isn't just covered in this report. And it shouldn't be in this report. This is a very high-level report. But I think, in my opinion, seeing the administrative spending in this report and last year's standard of F report, and the year before that, and the year before that, the trend is pretty similar. And I think that it would be a really good idea for this board, and specifically the planning committee, to do a similar deep dive on the topic of administrative spending, similar to how we've been working on transportation spending, because we need to understand exactly how and why this data looks the way it does, why Fargo Public Schools is different. And then we have to decide as a board, is that difference good, right? There are absolutely valid reasons why we have higher transportation costs. And I think there are potentially valid reasons why we may have higher administrative costs. But this report doesn't answer those questions, but it tells us where we may need to start looking. So I really appreciate this report. This is like, outside of our strategic plan, this is the document I open most throughout the year, because I think it tells us where to look, and I think we should start looking there.
Robin?
Yes, I have, I would encourage future planning committees to really analyze the purpose of this report. It is clearly not comparing apples to apples, even with the adjustments that you tried to make. Thank you. I would also ask some questions and clarification, Jackie, on page 8 on administrative expenditures. I am wondering if our school administration spending is much higher than our general administration. And that tells me we are pushing more administrators down into schools, and or their job classifications on your financials are different. I also remember changing from assistant principals to dean of students to more accurately reflect their title. Can you give us a little bit of insight into that?
Yeah, absolutely. And we definitely can get some more information to try to kind of hone in on some of these things. A large difference in administrative costs is in school administration. Yep. We are fortunate, I think, in North Dakota to have local control on how we do spend our dollars. And so I think that's sometimes how you see differences in how schools and districts operate, right? So school administration includes, on our books anyway, and really should be fairly comparative among other districts as well, principals, assistant principals, deans, office staff, so your administrative assistants, your office assistants, graduation expenses even flow up into school administration. But those are things we could look at a little deeper if that's how you would like to proceed, so we can really see, I think at least for sure probably between our neighboring North Dakota districts, what are some of the differences in how we choose to staff? That's probably where most of it may lie in that, and then maybe we'll uncover some things too among our districts that we're maybe not consistent on that we can norm on and become a little more consistent for comparative purposes.
Thank you.
Other comments or questions on this report? I had one thing that kind of stuck out to me as I was looking through here. I think it's on page 14 about the special education expenditures. And I noticed that Fargo under purchase services is 16%, and then it looks significantly lower at the other districts. So I was wondering if there was some insight to that, and does transportation cost as a purchase service?
What is probably the biggest factor there, maybe relative to the services that we do have available in our area that might not be available in others. Many of the purchase service costs for special education stem down to that individualized education plan for that student. And sometimes it is determined that those are outside placements. And those outside placements are very costly. And it just may be that we have a higher number of that due to the availability and/or due to the student population that we are serving.
Okay, thank you. So probably a reflection of the high level of complex needs that we have.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And then I would also echo what Robin said. I had literally written down apples to apples or apples to oranges. So I would hope if we continue this, that we can also do that deeper dive and taking a closer look at, like, more specifically how these costs break down, and then how they impact our educators or students. Because I understand, like, as we're talking about admin costs, and we were talking about assistant principals, like, if we were to cut something like an assistant principal, does that help or hurt the educational environment? So I think those are the things that we need to look at if this type of report is to continue. Other questions or comments? No? Okay, thank you very much, Jackie, appreciate it. So now we are at the consent agenda, and I will look for approval of the consent agenda. Nikki?
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented along with the human capital addendum.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Nikki and a second from Namal. Any discussion? All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposition, same sign. That motion passes 9-0. We're now at our business section. So our first thing on here is the award of bid. It's memo 125, and I'm going to turn to Dr. Steiner for that one.
Thank you. So before you have the memo that is asking you to accept a recommendation for our third bid package, which is our final bid package for the project, which is quite timely because obviously with school now letting out, we're moving forward with our abatement and eventually the tearing down and starting the reconstruction process. We do have Kyle from Carl Sanderson who's here to answer any questions you might have, but I think the memo is very similar to what you saw for bid package 1 and bid package 2. And the comparisons, right now our contingency is got a good amount in it, which is a way to look at in terms of we may be below budget, but you never know what would happen in any project. So I would never say that, oh, we're well below budget, but our contingency has a good balance in it right now for being at this point in the project.
Okay, do you have a motion? Go ahead.
President Christensen Menier, I'd like to move that we approve bid package number 3, final bid package for the Horace Mann Elementary School project in the amount of $15,547.
Sorry, it's 15 million.
15 million, big difference, $547,299 as recommended by Kraus Anderson. Establish the guaranteed maximum price for construction at $35,128,639 and affirm the total project budget including soft costs at $45 million.
Second.
Thanks. Okay, so we have a motion from Robin and a second from, was that Nikki? Nikki, okay. Any discussion?
I just have a quick question. How did we end up exactly to the penny at $45 million?
Is that, you want to answer that? Or Jackie?
I think Kyle, do you want to? Kyle probably can come up and help us understand that.
Good evening. As Dr. Steiner said, I'm Kyle Mickelson. I'm project executive for Carl Sanderson. So through the culmination of bid packages 1, 2, and 3 from the memo, our bids came back at $35,128,000, which is roughly $2.5 million below our last construction estimate. And what we did with that $2.5 million, we pushed it over to the district as part of the soft costs. And I don't want to speak for them, but that'll be probably something they can update the group at later. But so our actual construction costs came in $2.5 million below our last estimate.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? Did you have a follow-up on that? Are we good? Yeah, Allie?
I was just wondering on the timeline. So the abatement will start, and then how long do we expect that to take, and any hiccups that we foresee happening potentially with that?
No, I think the one thing everybody's excited about, so abatement's going to start immediately, but just after the 4th of July is when we intend to start tearing down the building. We'll have a couple of weeks of making the building ready to go, getting stuff taken out, but heavy equipment, heavy construction will happen the week after July 6th. So I think that's when everybody will be excited to see what's going on.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? Okay, are we ready for the roll call? Go ahead, Anne Marie.
Jason Nelson,
Yes.
Kristen Nelson,
Yes.
Robin Nelson,
Yes.
Olenberger,
Yes.
Berglund,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Day,
Yes.
Gullickson, Christensen Meineer.
Yes, and that motion passes 9-0. All right, and next we're moving on to item B, our health insurance premium recommendation, Memo 126, and I think Jackie is going to introduce this to us.
The memo before you for the health insurance premium recommendation comes through the district's health insurance committee, which is made up of a wide variety of staff members, kind of representing all groups within the district. They have done some hard work through this year and are bringing forth a recommendation for our health premiums to increase a total of 12%. They are recommending no change in the cost share, so no change in the percentage that the employee or the district contributes toward that premium. They are also seeking a recommendation to continue our HSA contributions at the levels that that have been established historically. And there is a recommendation for no change in dental. Our dental plan, we made an adjustment last year, and that has kind of righted itself, and so we feel pretty confident that no change of premium there will at least take us through the next year. The only other piece I'd like to maybe add is that the committee is planning to take an effort over the next year to really look at some potential alternative sources of health care, some that may include providers that will come do home visits. There's a lot of exciting things, I think, happening in the industry and would hopefully allow us to continue to maintain our plan. Our plan is self-insured, so as users, we are the individuals responsible as well for how that plan operates and functions. But just again, I personally would like to commend the Health Insurance Committee and with the help of Gallagher and Associates, who is our consultant, on the hard work they did. Recommending an increase of 12% for them was not an easy ask, but I think we are fortunate that that increase is still much below what many others may be realizing in the upcoming year.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions for Jackie or a motion? Greg?
I just need to declare a conflict of interest, so I won't be participating in this conversation.
Okay, thank you.
I also need to declare a conflict of interest.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments? Okay, go ahead, Nikki.
I recommend we approve the internal service fund budget along with the Health Insurance Committee's recommendation effective January 1st, 2027 of an overall 12% funding level increase in health insurance premiums, maintenance of health savings account contribution levels, and annual deductible adjustments necessary to maintain embedded deductible status under IRS requirement.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Nikki and a second from Ally. Any discussion? Any comments? No? Okay, let's call the roll.
Kristen Nelson,
Yes.
Robin Nelson,
Yes.
Olenberger,
Yes.
Berglund,
Yes.
Day,
Yes.
Gullickson,
Yes.
Christensen Meineer.
Yes, and that motion passes 7-0. Okay, and we are on to our last business item, assignment of canvassing committee. This is Memo 127, and it comes from me. Since we are approaching the end of the year, it is time for us to form a canvassing committee. The committee basically needs to consist of people from within governance that are not currently president or vice president. So that gives us Melissa Berglund, Greg Clark, and Nikki Gullickson, and I have asked Melissa to chair that committee. So I will look for a motion. Okay. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I move that Melissa Berglund, myself, and Nikki Gullickson serve as the 2026 Canvassing Committee as stipulated in our policy, with Melissa Berglund serving as chair of the committee, and report their findings to Anne Marie Campbell by June 24th.
Second.
I think they turn off on their own if you don't use them. Okay. Just learned that. Okay, we have a motion from Greg and a second from Namal. So just a little more information, Melissa will then convene her committee, and they'll be reaching out to every single board member asking if they would be willing to serve as a vice president or president, and then the elections will take place later. Do we have any other questions or comments on this? Okay, let's call the roll.
Robin Nelson,
Yes.
Ollenberger,
Yes.
Berkland,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Day,
Yes.
Gullickson,
Yes.
Jason Nelson,
Yes.
Kristen Nelson,
Yes.
Christensen Meinier.
Yes, that motion passes 9-0. All right, we've moved on to our board reports. And can I start with Kristen Nelson?
You sure can. All I have to report on is Fargo South's graduation on Sunday was fantastic, and my personal connection to some of the Fargo South students was I got to hand out diplomas to two of my former YMCA kids, one of which attended Jefferson when he started in kindergarten. He was this big and ran in after school, gave me a hug every single day, saying I was his favorite. And now he is this big, and, and he has a really deep voice. And I was just kind of blown away when I saw him, and it made me a little bit emotional. So it was a beautiful ceremony. Everybody does such a good job. So that's all I have to report.
Thank you. Allie?
I also, too, was honored to be able to attend Fargo South's graduation and hand out diplomas. I know I said this last year, but that is just such a huge perk of being a board member, is to being able to be just a small part of those kiddos' huge accomplishments and milestones. I also want to shout out to Eve. She had the best graduation speech that I have ever heard, probably. It was really phenomenal. And then Christy Brandt actually connected all of the different speeches together in her address, really around the stories and the milestones, and taking advantage of the pages in the middle, not just focusing on the beginning or on the end, but really the meat of the story, which was just really, really beautiful. So very much appreciated that. And I also want to say thank you to all of my fellow board members who are up for election tonight and rerunning. It's been an honor to serve with each and every one of you. Good luck tonight, and hopefully we will all be back here in a few weeks together.
Okay, thank you. Jason?
Yeah, I attended the plan meeting and then was able to attend Dakota High School graduation. I think Greg attended that one last year, and I remember him talking about that, and that one is special. If you guys have the opportunity to go that one, I would highly recommend it. The principal, after announcing the first name, then followed that with saying it's open mic here, which is different than any other school, and I was a little nervous about what was going to be said. About half the kids took advantage of that and really gave thanks to their family and other people within their family that helped them get to that point. But every one of them recognized the staff and the principal there. So pretty cool to be part of that. So, and then good luck to all the candidates in all our local elections tonight.
Thank you. Namal?
Yes, so I attended the planning committee, and then on June 3rd, I attended the ceremony for Virgil Academy, which was truly amazing. Those students has done an outstanding job that you can ever imagine. And Dr. Corey here, he's always amazing anyway, doing his speech and everything. But so far, the graduation was phenomenal, and the student, so many scholarships, which I was very proud of, just as I attended the scholarship ceremony before. And I was just amazed by everything that they have done, including, not even including, I'm just saying that, those teachers has done an outstanding job, and I just want to say thank you for all they do.
Thank you. Nikki?
Thank you. Yes. First of all, another congratulations to Anne Marie and the communications team. That is fabulous. I attended Davy's graduation. I had that honor. It is a real a real honor to participate in those because it's like the culmination of everything. You see it all come together. So I think I smiled almost ear to ear through the whole thing. It was wonderful. And while I attended Davies, after South had gone, I heard about Eve. So I have to go see that speech because I heard she did such a wonderful job. And then, yeah, we have some folks up for election. I'm wishing everybody good luck. I'm hoping we get our team back together. And yeah, so good luck, everybody. We'll know more tomorrow.
Thanks. Robin?
Sure, thank you. One of them you forgot, Nikki. We attended the NDSU President's Welcome on May 27th.
Yes,
Board
we did.
members were invited. We weren't too worried about a quorum. We checked with Anne Marie. That was quite nice. I want to give much gratitude to Greg. He covered my assigned graduation ceremony that I wasn't able to attend, so thank you. Went to governance yesterday, governance committee. Heads up at 8 a.m. on Thursday, legislative management convenes to hear a proposal from DPI that will add one staff member to help administer free school meals. They are moving forward with the administration on that. And finally, since we're on a stage, I brought a prop. Everybody's like, what is this? I put it in a garbage bag so nobody would see what it was. So y'all know how emotional I am about Horace Mann. So I got a sweet call from Leandra, who happened to go to school with my brother. And she said, can I give you a gift? I hope you don't think it's stupid. And so she gave me the Welcome to Horace Mann sign. I said, of course, I will cherish this forever. And thank you to Leandra for thinking of us. As I said before, her dad was my gym teacher at Horace Mann, and she graduated close to my brother at Fargo North. So pretty special to me. Thank you, President Leandra, or Principal Leandra. See, I'm emotional and I'm flustered. Thank you, Katie.
Greg?
Yeah, Planning Committee met on June 2nd. I attended governance yesterday. Earlier today, I met with Dr. Steiner about our future strategic plan. We had a good conversation there. June 7th, with Nikki, attended Davies graduation. That was my first time handing out diplomas at one of our comprehensive high schools. Very different experience than what happens at Agassiz. But it was a great experience. Seeing the whole production that happens for our comprehensive high schools graduations was really impressive, and totally went off without any issues, which is an achievement in itself. And yeah, just seeing all those students, reach that graduation stage was really special. Yeah, and on June 4th, I attended the GED graduation, which is, I think this is my third time. It's one that I specifically request, and hopefully I'm not giving people ideas to steal it from me in the future, because I'm going to keep requesting it, but I have a really special place in my heart for the GED graduates that we have. Getting that high school equivalency is it's not more than, but it is very different. It is a totally unique path that each of those students goes down to get there. We had two students speak at that with totally separate stories, and both overcame a lot of things that I don't think I could overcome. And it's just really special to be able to see them finally get that GED.
Thank you. Melissa?
Yeah, I just want to do a quick shout out to graduating Davies senior Rose Solberg, who was appointed the North Dakota Golf of the Year, and there's only one in the state, and it's pretty remarkable. Then on May 27th, Dr. Steiner, Laura Christensen, and Jim Erlarker and I met for our final kind of smaller negotiations FEA committee, and just because we had, as a board, approved 2 contracts related to SLPs and special education teachers, we spent a lot of time talking about what are contractual ways we can retain and recruit those really, really important roles within our system. And I think we had some really great conversations. We also did a quick check-in about the 6th assignment that our high schools have now going into this second year of the contract this fall. And Dr. Steiner presented a nice summary of all of those conversations and what that looks like at each school. So I won't go into great detail, but then we just kind of carried over that to our committee meeting the next day. And I just want to thank everybody that served on negotiations this year. I thought we were, productive, and we were curious, and I felt like we learned a lot and explored a lot of things that I hope will be helpful for whoever sits on that committee next year. So I just want to thank everyone for being a part of that. And then I also handed out diplomas at my first comprehensive high school ceremony on Sunday, and I was at Fargo North. And it was really neat because now that I have a rising junior at Fargo North, a lot of his swim teammates and cross-country teammates and bandmates are graduating, and it's really, really neat to see. And I think you could plop me into any graduation ceremony across the country, and I would still get really emotional about how important and how meaningful it is. And so when you have that extra connection, it was just a really remarkable experience, and I'm very grateful for that.
And I believe you had a child in the band.
And I had a child in the band, and he plays percussion, and he's really tiny, so I never get to see him. But now that I was up on stage and I had a better view, I could actually see him playing percussion for the first time. So that was great.
Thank you. Was that everything? Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, that was an important add-on. Yes, that was all.
Okay, good deal. Okay, so I'll start off. I also handed out diplomas at North High, and with having kids who have recently graduated from there, it was just a joy to see a lot of their friends and teachers. I'm sure someday I'm going to kind of outgrow the kids, like as my kids get farther and farther away from there, but right now it's still, I think I almost cried more that my kids are out and realizing like how much they're moving on than, than still being in that phase. Yesterday I had my monthly meeting with Dr. Steiner, got in some extra steps trying to find him, but we got there, navigating South High. And then also yesterday governance met, a couple items for you to just be aware of. We talked through the training session that will take place in August. Items include the budget overview, strategic plan, mill levy education, and some general board policies and functions. And then also at our next meeting, so at governance, we talked about some changes to GP7, which lays out the structure of our committees. And so we are bringing to the board some recommended changes. So please make sure that you're aware of that and you read that memo when it comes out, since that'll be up for discussion at our next meeting. Our next meeting is June 23rd in this same space. It is now 6:13 p.m. and this meeting is adjourned.